Hi, everybody. Al Bernstein here with another one of my quick hits as part of our boxing hangouts. And on today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the heavyweight division vis-a-vis Deontay Wilder's big win over Bermane Stivern that I was privileged to call this past weekend. As always, as you take a look at that poster, it was a much anticipated matchup. And I bring in our producer of these quick hits and our boxing hangouts, Dan Parks. And Dan, you, like all boxing fans, were enthused about the heavyweight matchup, and you, like about 1.3 other million homes, watched this match. You've got a lot of interest and great ratings.
It was a really good fight, Al, and it went the way I expected it to go. I just did not exactly the way I expected it to go. I
thought Wilder would win, but not by decision, right?
No, I had him walking right through him, but which I really think he kind of did. He really did. It was pretty lopsided, I think, match, but yeah. That was not the way. I did not expect to see that fight go the distance at all.
Well, I'm sure virtually no one thought it would go the distance, but it certainly turned out to be an interesting match, and it has generated interest in the heavyweight division. First, let's take a look back at the match for a second. It was a match in which, from the get-go, Stiverne had issues cutting off the ring on Deontay Wilder. Wilder was able to use his right hand very effectively early in round one. It began. And would keep Stiverne on his heels with his power punches and landed the 1-2 combinations constantly during this fight. But also what Wilder got to show over a 12-round course of the fight was some other skills that we weren't sure he had. He slip punches well. He mixed in some very short left hooks, which you normally don't see from him, and threw his uppercut judiciously. A couple times threw it from far out, but Stiverne wasn't able to take advantage of it. So in the course of this fight, and I said this afterwards on the Showtime broadcast, Wilder did himself a better service by winning the way he did than if he had knocked out Stiverne in 1 or 2 rounds, because he was able to show us a skill set that we weren't sure he had. Now, some of this may be due to Stiverne. Of course, we later found out he had issues in the fight physically, although those were of his own doing, so certainly not Wilder's fault. Apparently due to training and dehydration, etc. But that takes nothing away from what Wilder did. Wilder fought the most disciplined and technically precise fight of his young career, and showed us how he could use those physical gifts that he has to win this fight. And it was astonishing to me that Stiverne was able to take the punishment he did. So he won this fight, made a statement in doing it, and you see behind him on the right, JD's his manager, who a sports writer from Alabama, who, along with Mark Breland, the great trainer of Wilder, and Russ Anber, who is the cut man and confidant, a Canadian icon as a broadcaster, but also a trainer and cut man. That little trio has nurtured Deontay Wilder, has worked with him from both a in the ring and outside the ring standpoint, and now he is a major player, obviously, in boxing. Now, it's simplistic to say that his win revolutionizes the heavyweight division. However, it's very fair to say that it changes the landscape of the division in a huge way, and will, I think, help American fans be much more involved in the heavyweight division. And right away, we look at the possibilities in the heavyweight division, and we think of all the possible matchups for Deontay Wilder. Clearly, Vladimir Klitschko, who is the recognized champion, who'll be fighting on March 25th against Brian Jennings. Wilder has a WBC version of the title. Klitschko has all the others. That would be a fascinating matchup. Tyson Fury, who is the #1 challenger to Klitschko, could decide that he wants to fight Wilder. And they have been talking in the press, both of them. If that fight happens, the trash talking will be of epic proportions, and if that's your cup of tea, you'll really enjoy that. And so what's happened in this division, in my opinion, is the fact that it was beginning a shift from Eastern Europe into the UK and the United States continues with the win that Deontay Wilder had. And you know, you look at the names in the heavyweight division, and still many of them are the Eastern European fighters, but there are some Americans. This is the Ring magazine ratings, so not the organization, but you see some Americans like Brian Jennings and Mike Perez in there, and of course now Wilder way up there on the list. I think that what this demonstrates is that there are enough compelling fights now in the heavyweight division to at least engender interest here in the United States. Now, the Klitschko's have been putting 50,000 people in soccer stadiums for years and drawing big numbers in Eastern Europe and even in the UK and other places. So it's not as if the heavyweight division fell off the earth. It didn't. It's just in the United States, where boxing became a little bit more of a niche sport, the heavyweight division dropped down even farther. So my feeling is that it's vital that there be fights on American soil involving Americans from time to time in this heavyweight division, and now we're going to see that. I hope that Deontay Wilder, before the calendar year is out, fights either Tyson Fury or Vladimir Klitschko. Early in the year, there was a hand injury to Deontay Wilder, but it doesn't appear to be a serious one. He could take another defense, might be against a fighter like Mike Perez or somebody along those lines. And then I hope that toward the end of the year, we get one of those two major fights. And if we do, that will ignite the heavyweight division. Now, Tyson Fury is fighting in February, and he has already expressed a strong interest to face Deontay Wilder. So the heavyweight division is back in America, at least for now. And that 1.3 million homes that Showtime did, which, by the way, was 300,000 more homes than they did for the Stiverne fight on ESPN when they had a heavyweight championship fight on ESPN. Now, I attribute some of that to ESPN doing a very poor job of marketing that fight. But I also attribute it to the fact that, number one, and Showtime, we did market the fight well, and number two, Deontay Wilder brought a level of excitement to it that had not been seen. So we're going to see how it all plays itself out, but for now, the heavyweight division is back in America.